Welcome to this podcast. We have James Castro-Edwards here to talk about marketing directors and the GDPR. James, perhaps you could start with summarising what the GDPR is.
Thanks very much, Anna. The GDPR, the General Data Protection Regulation, came into force in May 2018, and it replaced the previous legislation, which was the Data Protection Directive, which took effect in the UK as the Data Protection Act 1998. So the GDPR regulates the use of personal data, and it applies to marketing. More recently, since the UK left the European Union, the GDPR has been replaced by the UK GDPR, which includes the same rights and principles, but it loses the various parts around the interaction between European supervisory authorities. But essentially, the principles are the same.
And I think this is an area that you specialise in.
It is indeed. I've practiced in data protection since 2006, advising domestic and multinational companies on data protection compliance. And more recently, I wrote the textbook for the Law Society on the GDPR. So I've been involved in this area for quite a while, in quite some depth.
So why is this something that marketing directors should be aware of?
It's very important that marketing directors are aware of this, of the GDPR, because it regulates the use of personal data, which is essential to marketing. In particular, with direct unsolicited marketing by electronic means, there's another set of regulations, so the Privacy and Electronic Communications regulations, which need to be taken into account. So if you're a marketing director and you're responsible for marketing by email or text message, for instance, you need to consider not only the GDPR, but the Privacy and Electronic Communication regulations, or the PEC regulations as well. Both of these pieces of legislation are enforced by the Information Commissioner's Office, or the ICO, and the ICO can potentially fine organisations that fail to comply with the GDPR up to 4% of their worldwide annual turnover, or approximately 17.5 million sterling. And in the case of the PEC regulations, fines are potentially up to £500,000. So if you get it wrong, the consequences can be quite significant.
So what should a marketing director be considering?
Well, they need to understand what personal data they hold and whether their activities fall under just the GDPR or the GDPR and the PEC regulations, and generally whether they have the appropriate consents and permissions to carry out the marketing that they're planning to undertake. They must keep an eye on this area of the law. It's complicated, and the rules do change gradually from time to time. But as I say, the risks of getting this wrong are pretty significant, not only in terms of fines and enforcement action, but the clear-up job, if you like, can be quite significant, and also the reputational damage.
So why do marketing directors choose ProDPO as their outsourced data protection officer?
The advantage of working with ProDPO is that we've been doing this for a long time and we understand it very well. And we understand what the law requires and the sorts of things that are going to get businesses into trouble if they disregard the rules. And we can offer practical commercial solutions to help people to comply and make sure they address the real risks. They look at the right things and they do the right thing. They save themselves the time and the aggravation of dealing with a regulatory inquiry. And they have people that they can tap into our experience from not just me, but the team, and they can help come up with the right solution for their business.
And what experience does the team have in healthcare devices?
We've worked with lots of different healthcare devices. We provide outsourced DPO services for a number. We've also carried out audits and reviews, data protection reviews, and provided ad hoc advice, large and small projects over the years. So we're very well placed to help in this sector.
James, thank you very much for taking the time. It's been very interesting hearing about GDPR.
Thanks, Anna.